Thanks. Thank you, Misha. Hi, everyone. Um, just a relatively quick update. I'm sure as many of you may have been following the news, we do have a Republican walkout. So many of them have reached past their 10 consecutive days of unexcused absences. So what this means is business in the legislature is essentially halted. Oregon needs a majority of 2/3 legislators present to be able to vote and pass laws and to have quorum, which is different from most states, which need a simple majority. So very likely, unless they come back to the negotiating table within the next few days, it's unlikely that things are going to move forward. We did have Senate Bill 609 pass through Ways and Means this morning. In case you're not familiar, Senate Bill 609 allows us to count graduate assistant hours to fulfill the work requirement in order to be eligible for SNAP. Of course, it still has to be voted on the floor. So I think that some of the committees are being optimistic and having fiscal impacts ready to go and ready to be voted on in case Republicans come back to the negotiating table. So just wanted to make sure that you all were aware of what's going on and where we're at. Does anyone have questions for me? Okay, great. Well, in case you do, here's my information on the slide. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Maria. Appreciate it. And as always, we will be sending out the slideshow. Usually it's about a week out before we get it out, so we can make sure we have everything that you need from today's meeting. And then next up, we have Antonio. Is Antonio here? I didn't see him enter just yet.
Hi, good afternoon.
Oh, you are here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. It's all yours.
So I just have a couple of quick updates regarding the upcoming changes or things that have been happening with the SNAP program. The first one has to do with the work requirements that are for individuals with an ABOT status. So I think I repeated this information for a couple of different meetings, but it's important that we remind ourselves. So July 1st, the work requirements are going to be starting for individuals with an ABOT status in the counties listed at the bottom of this slide. So individuals who have an ABOT status are those who are old, at least 18, not yet 50, and there's no minor children in the home. So per federal rules, they are required to do 80 hours of work activities per month in order to receive SNAP benefit for longer than 3 months. And so we have various areas that are waived from these requirements, 22 counties because they are eligible for a waiver, and 6 counties because we'll be using discretionary exemptions to prevent individuals in those counties from losing benefits. Tribal areas are mostly waived, and one is in a county that will be using discretionary exemptions. So when we refer specifically to time limits and people at risk of losing benefits, we're referring to these 8 specific counties. Next slide. So things that I wanted to point out. Back in April, we sent a first notice to 42,000 individuals at risk. In mid-June, we're going to be sending another notice to those who are impacted again. And as before, the notices are individualized. So anyone who has an ABOT status will get a notice if they are at risk of losing benefits. If they speak a language other than English, those notices are translated in their preferred language. I also wanted to point out that we have the ABOT team who is working with individuals who are subject to work requirements. In the screen, you can see the phone number, email. This team is working specifically to screen for exemption, to make sure that anyone who's doing work activities gets credit for those work activities, and those who need assistance in creating a plan so that they can complete those 80 hours because they do not meet an exemption or are not doing activities on their own, can work with OED. So OED is our primary contractor for ABOT services, and they provide services in those 8 counties that we are talking about. Of course, I'm referring to ABOT services. OED provides other services like unemployment statewide, and for other services, work requirement and SNAP. Next slide, please. And again, anyone who is working with OED will have access to a SNAP coach who will provide case management services. And again, case management services includes activities like job search, access to training programs. So the plan is supposed to be tailored to the person's skill level and interest, that the person support. Also, those who are using services will have access to gas voucher distribution for public transportation, or if they need tools to be able to participate in the work activities, they can also request those kind of services. And then next slide. The other thing I wanted to mention, the months of April and May, we have been issuing pandemic EBT. And so these are retroactive benefits for children that were eligible during the school year 2022. I'm sorry, that the school year is wrong. So the school year is for the 2021-2022 school year. And so there's a call center that individuals who have questions can call regarding these benefits. They should be able to answer any questions as to who's eligible, what if they are having issues with their cards. These are things that they can get answered by calling that phone number.
Antonio, can we go back to ABOD? I didn't know you were going on. I'm sorry. There was a question in the chat, and then on that slide when you were talking about some of the different resources, you cut out for a bunch of us, and we didn't quite hear what you were saying there.
Understood.
Susie, can you go back to that slide you were just on? It was a good, yeah, it was on that slide when you were talking.
Okay, so individuals who choose to participate with the OED and case management services will have access to a personal SNAP coach. And this SNAP coach will ask them questions about their skill levels, things that they're interested in. They'll be able to work with them to create a plan so that the person can meet the 80 hours of activities that they need to complete each month in order to fulfill the work requirement. So again, this can be access to training programs, educational programs, but things that are specifically targeted to the person that they're working with. And those who engage with OED, so that they are working on their plan, they're doing their weekly work activities, will also have access to support services. So if they need assistance with gas vouchers, transportation, things of that nature, they can also request that support from OED. Do you mind asking the questions, and I can see if I can answer them?
Yes, I'm happy to. First question, if they are 18 but still in high school, do they fall under these rules? Can a high school student lose SNAP being 18 with 8 months of high school left? And
so,
okay, go ahead.
So yeah, I can answer that question. So remember, it's 18, at least 18, but not yet 50, and with no minor children in the home. If they're the only person in the SNAP case, yes, they have an ABOT status. The thing that we need to remember is that there's a list of exemptions that the person can meet. So if I'm an ABOD, or I have the status of an ABOD, but I meet one of the exemptions, then I don't have to do the work requirement. And so when we're sending out the letters to individuals, we're telling them what those exemptions are. And I think in the slideshow or in the materials that you're going to share with this group, we point them to the website that contains what those exemptions are. So being a student of any kind, if I'm a high school student, if I'm a student at a community college, in a technical trade graduate, if I participate with a program like ERCO, I'm considered a student, and therefore I meet one of the exemptions. The other big exemption is having health issues. If someone has physical, mental, or behavioral health issues that prevent them from working, that also exempts them from having the requirement. So if someone is receiving those letters, it is because we in our system do not know that. We know that they have an ABOT status, but we don't know if they are exempt or if they are already meeting work activities on their own. But that's why we're encouraging people to contact the ABOT team so that they can be screened for exemptions or get credit for any work activities that they already may be doing.
Thanks. And I think that kind of answers the next part of the question about high school or college being a work activity. Could you maybe talk more
Well,
about if
there are
somebody has an
exemptions.
exemption?
Yeah,
Yes.
students are exemptions. So
Can you talk more about what they need to do if they have an exemption?
well, they need to contact the ABOT team so that exemption can get coded into their case and that we're aware of. So those people who are receiving the letters right now, in our system, we don't know if they meet an exemption or not. We don't know if they are doing work activities or not. There's a bigger group of people who have an ABOT status that in our system are already exempted, or they are already being credited with the work activities that they're doing. So those individuals are not getting those letters because come July, they're not gonna be impacted by this policy. When they renew their benefits, we're gonna recheck for that information.
Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions about this part of the presentation? So about the SNAP time limits and ABOD that you'd like to ask?
I see Beth put in the chat if it would be possible to share screens and look at the letter that's going out to community members so that we can share feedback. I think that'd be a good use of time.
Actually, thank you for whoever pointed that out. I was thinking about, could you share it, like email them out to the list of recipients? Just because I don't know if it fits into the time schedule for this meeting, but it would be really, really helpful to get template of the notices so we know what our clients or our partners are seeing.
So I will have to look into that. I can't speak to it at this point. I don't know if it's something that can be readily pulled up. So we will definitely look into it afterwards, since the request was made, and get it. I know I haven't seen it myself, so I have to hunt that one down and find it for you. I know that this was kind of a quick overview of ABOD for you, mainly because we have done a full presentation already for this group. The full presentation was done, I believe, in March. So if you go to our recordings on the ODHS YouTube channel, you can go back to the March presentation and actually get some really good details on this program. If you have further questions, feel free to do that, or of course, reach out to us. And then we are on to PEBT, and I did see there was a PEBT question, but I'm gonna go ahead and hand it over to Stephanie, who's on the call right now, to talk more about that, and then we'll get questions at that time about PEBT.
Okay, great. Thanks, Misha. Hi, everybody. My name is Stephanie Cook. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a policy analyst for the SNAP program here at ODHS. I know we've shared about Pandemic EBT quite a few times in the past. That's because it's the program that just keeps on giving. So we continue on with Pandemic EBT. So the payments for summer, and there I see is the typo, and I will take credit or non-credit for that. That was my mistake. That should say summer 2022 along the top there. I'll make sure that's corrected before it goes out for everyone. But payments for summer 2022, so last year, those are about all the way done, finished being issued to eligible kids. So the EBT cards that they go onto will be continued to be issued out through the end of May. I saw, Beth, you had asked a question that if SNAP families are getting a new EBT card or if the benefits go onto their SNAP case, those families are going to get a new EBT card and it will be in the child's name that's eligible. So they don't get added onto their SNAP case. It's a completely separate EBT card. We still have our customer support line open to families. So if you have a community member that has questions about if they were eligible for last summer's PEBT, please have them call and contact the customer support line. They have lots of agents that are open to answer questions about, general PEBT information, if their specific child is eligible, if the school they attend is eligible, anything like that. And then moving on to school year 2022-2023. So the school year we're currently in and just about wrapping up. And then summer 2023. Happy to report that Oregon did turn in our state plans to Food and Nutrition Services this week. And so they are right now with the USDA FNS, and they will be reviewing them and then providing feedback to us. So we are moving right along with those ones. All right, I'll pause there. I want to do a quick, I just wanted to do a quick update because I know we have a couple other presenters, but I'll pause for questions.
If no one else has a question, I have a little one. Why is it still called summer PEBT if we're no longer in the pandemic?
That is such a good question, James. Well, so this all falls under the funding for pandemic funding under the Consolidated Appropriations Act. And so that's why we still call this one Pandemic EBT up until the end of summer 2023. We do have the opportunity to move into what's called, and this is not confusing, but summer EBT. So not summer pandemic EBT, but just summer EBT, which is a permanent program that will help feed children. And that is effective in summer 24. So we are kind of working through all the details with that and trying to figure out, a plan that will hold us through since that is a permanent program. And more information will definitely come on that as we move through.
I would add more information and a lot more engagement from people on this call. We're really going to need your help going through a lot of that permanent program development, notices, everything. So you're going to be highly engaged in this.
Yes. So I see a question from Abby in the chat. Would summer EBT, so the one for next year, 2024, be for children eligible at CEP schools or community eligible provision schools? So we're still working out the details of exactly who's eligible for summer EBT. The exact guidance has not yet been shared with us by our federal partners, but what we do know based on kind of like preliminary memos that we've seen is that children who are directly certified eligible for SNAP, TANF, or child welfare will automatically be eligible for summer EBT. And then everyone else would need to go through an application process to be able to receive that benefit. But again, that's just like very, very preliminary start. So none of that is in concrete detail yet. Alrighty. Well, if anyone else has questions about PBT, I'll throw my contact information in the chat and feel free to get a hold of me. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Stephanie. All right. Next, we have a guest presenter from Partners for Hunger Free Oregon. We're going to be talking about town hall feedback. So, Analita, are you here?
I am. Thanks for the intro. And apologies in advance. I definitely chugged a Thai iced tea right before this. So I am over caffeinated, over sugared, and shaky. But I think I can go ahead and just share my screen. Give me one moment. All right, can everybody see that? Okay,
I see
great.
it.
Well, thanks everyone. Thanks for giving us this time to share this information. I don't think it'll be surprising to anyone on this call, especially folks who do direct service, but on April 11th, our organization held a SNAP community town hall to hear directly from community members about what they're experiencing on the ground with the SNAP benefits, the end of emergency allotments, all that jazz. It was a virtual town hall. We got a lot of folks from across Oregon to attend and give us their feedback. And we ended up having breakout rooms where people could share their experiences. This is an external report. So if anyone is interested in the report, feel free to put your email in the chat and I can send it to you so that you can take a look at it too. There's a recording of the meeting and a slideshow as well. We did not record the breakout rooms so that folks could be as earnest as they wanted to be without fear of any repercussions. But the overarching themes that we heard from community members is that SNAP is not at all a supplemental resource. It is people's main source of income to buy food, and that the end of emergency allotments has impacted them very heavily. We particularly heard from older adults that they are struggling to find resources that are catered to their needs. There were a lot of resources that were created during the pandemic, which is still ongoing, but the public health emergency has ended. And so those programs lost funding. And now older adults are having a really hard time finding specific resources. We've heard from a lot of families that they're having to forego paying for other essentials like electricity, transportation, internet access, a lot of things that help people either get to work or work from home if they're able to. We also heard that food banks are extremely overwhelmed. They are running out of food and the lines are getting longer than ever. And also that people are appreciative of the food banks because it is helping supplement them while they are losing out on these resources, but that they don't want that to be their main form of having to acquire food. There was also just a general real dissatisfaction with our congressional leadership and representatives, and a feeling that they are not understanding what is happening on the ground to families who are losing SNAP benefits. And I think we're going to see that discontent stretch even more as our representatives and senators in Oregon are not on the House floor to vote on bills that are going to help people access food. Yeah, that was, if you want to see more specific quotes, things that people said, we took notes during the breakout sessions, but I think a lot of these are things that people have heard in their day-to-day. A lot of folks who are not citizens or who are from BIPOC communities, older adults are all the ones who have been struggling. And it just seemed to be a pretty universal situation where in every community that you're in, people are hearing in their grocery stores that there's just whispers everywhere of people struggling to get food. One of my favorite quotes is, "Senators are expecting us to bow down and kowtow and what? Eat earthworms? What else is out there?" And I think it was just a really honest discussion for what people are going through right now. We also added a list of resources to this report in case folks have any other things that they want to add. We can send them out to people again. And yeah, that's pretty much how the town hall went. In the future, if you or your organization are interested in attending, or if you want to be a part of our outreach list to get more folks with lived experience to come and share their experiences, that would be great. We're using all of the information that we received to consolidate that and think about what next policies we want to pursue in the fall. So we're going to be doing more of these community town halls. We're hoping to do some of them in person as well across different parts of Oregon. And hopefully, not hopefully, we're going to make sure that our policies are led by community and their needs first. So with that, I think I covered it all. If anyone has any questions, I'm going to stop sharing. And I see all the emails in the chat, so I will go ahead and send those out to folks as well.
I just want to throw out, you still have 5 minutes. So if you want to take the time to go through some of those comments in a little more detail, I think there's time for that. If you'd like to do that, unless others have questions that they wanted to ask first.
Yeah, do folks have any questions? Oh, I'm sorry. I see someone also asked me to zoom in on the document. It was a little hard to read. 3 years into Zoom and I still can't figure out how to do how to make it more readable. Yeah, we can go through some of these quotes. I can just read them out loud. The first one is, when emergency allotments started, my family had food stamps for the whole month and they didn't have to worry about when they would run out. Now it only lasts about half the month. With inflation, the prices of food have gone up and that's been a huge challenge. Legislators don't take into account what working parents are going through. Bills to pay, daycare to provide. They don't offer ways to ease people off of it and to support them. The prices of food are ridiculous. The luxuries that my kids now have, like snacks, they're going to have to wait for them for next month, and that's not fair to them. I'm from Micronesia and I'm a community health worker. Most of the people in my community have diabetes. If they have enough, they'll buy food that they need to eat, but if they don't have enough, then they eat what they need in order to survive. Many in my community are not eligible for food stamps, and that makes it hard to get the food that you're supposed to be eating based on their health needs. And if you need a good kick in the gut to work even harder to get folks benefits, someone said, get those benefits back for heaven's sake, especially for us old folks that aren't working. I tried working 20 hours a week about 5 years ago, and that's about all I can do. And that doesn't pay for rent and transportation and food. So I think you're getting the gist of the event. Any questions from folks? And again, if you add your email in the chat, I'll make sure that you get a copy of the report and you can read through all of the quotes directly.
I have a quick, sorry, James.
No, go for it, Heather.
I have a quick question, Angelita. I know some of this has been shared with Oregon Hunger Task Force as well. Are there any plans to share like the outcome of this more broadly?
Yeah, I'm actually going to start a semi-regular newsletter on SNAP updates from what we're hearing on the ground from folks for our state representatives and senators. We got to meet with them when we got to meet with our federal congressional delegation when we went to the National Anti-Hunger Conference just a few weeks ago, and they requested a lot more on the ground information. So I think sometimes, you know, you can be disconnected in the policy world from what folks are experiencing on the ground. And so I want to send that information to them more regularly. And something that we heard from those congressional representatives too is a real desire to get stories from people, because I think we all know it's gross to have to humanize this problem. Like, everyone needs to eat and we shouldn't have to do that. But when they're negotiating with people who don't agree that people should have more access to food, it helps them in their negotiations to be able to bring up those specific stories. So we're just trying to give them all the tools in their arsenal so that they can advocate on the Hill as well as they can with the people that they have to make those negotiations with. James, did you have a question?
I guess I'm just was just trying to understand, you know, it's just, I don't know, it's just difficult. Like, what are people doing now? You know, if they're needing food, I'm assuming then the food banks are getting a lot busier. Is it, I mean, I'm just trying to understand from that vantage point.
What people are doing, like the people who are trying to get resources?
Yeah.
I mean, to be frank, what we've heard, there were a lot of single mothers on the call, and they were talking about how they are literally skipping meals so that they can give their kids that food instead. I think the reality is that people are not just hungry, but are starving. Like, people are not eating.
There is part of our 1115 waiver, this big, huge thing we do every few years for healthcare is saying we're going to expand among people who have the Oregon Health Plan. We're going to expand SNAP, TANF, and housing and WIC participation. So that's something we may be coming to this group. I haven't even talked to anyone here about it, but something that we need to think about how we can expand those efforts.
Absolutely. Farron, I see you have your hand up, and I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. Let me know if I did.
Nope, you got that correct. And I just wanted to add to answer your question, James, about what are people doing? I can at least anecdotally say my college students at Lynn Benton Community College, what they're doing is going back to this strange American joke we have about how funny it is that college students are broke and eat ramen. And, you know, Partners for Hunger Free Oregon, it's been a few years now, but put out a really great flyer that says, college hunger is not a rite of passage, with a big block of uncooked ramen behind the text. And it's so true. Also, what my college students are doing is coming to the college asking for food help. And at a community college, we don't have housing and dining services like a four-year university would. And so our on-campus food options are fairly limited. And also people are just coming to ask for grocery help, not just food on campus help. And what that's resulted in is, in my position, I have, in combination between several different programs at our school, utilized $25,000 of my budget this year just to bolster on-campus food security support services, because otherwise my students aren't eating. I have a student come to me at least once a month who walks into my office at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we get into conversation, and I find out they didn't eat yesterday and they haven't eaten yet today. Or they ate something yesterday, but it was like their last heel of bread with their last scrapings of peanut butter. And that was what they ate yesterday. And yeah, so I've been utilizing a huge proportion of my budget just to enhance stuff we have going on here on campus for that. But that's just another way government money is going to help people eat. It's so silly to me that we cut from one and then it gets harder, you know, to provide from another. SNAP benefits get cut. And so instead I'm using money that came from state legislation, which created my job and my budget, in order to help people who are now hungrier because their SNAP benefits just decreased. It's so inefficient and ridiculous to me. And it's getting harder now for students to get SNAP. So that's extra compounding. In addition to that, my position will exist for another 2 years. Thanks, Oregon legislature, for approving that. However, at a flat funding level, which means that coming into this next biennium, I will have almost no operating budget. My job will still be funded in here, but my operating budget to do things like spend $25,000 in a year on food security efforts at my college will not be possible anymore. So I'll be frank, I'm feeling pretty grim and angry about it right now, because currently when a student comes to me and says, I haven't eaten yesterday or today, if it's before 3 p.m. and our courtyard cafe is still open, I grab a $10 food gift card out of my lockbox and we walk together down to the cafe to get them some dang lunch, and then walk them over to our student leadership office, who can give them $100 of grocery gift card if they haven't gotten that yet that term. And that can at least help for a little while we assess whether they can get onto SNAP or something. But it is absolutely not sufficient to the level of need. no matter how hard I try. So the future of our workforce not eating well is not a good thing for our entire society. They're trying to learn stuff and they're not eating brain food, and that will impact everything from how good your auto mechanic is in the future to how good your nurse is in the future, because they were falling asleep trying to do their homework, because they were starving throughout a class and not really listening because their stomach's hurting, et cetera, et cetera. I hope people can see the connections between that a college student not being able to eat properly equals a poor educational outcome and lower skill levels and proficiency levels and things in their future careers. Maybe I see connections, others don't, but I see it every single day.
Farron, thank you for sharing that. And since you're at Lynn Benton, I'm going to put in the chat, sorry, I realize I'm probably taking more time now, but there is actually a Farm Bill listening session, which on June 2nd at Lynn Benton with some state representatives, including a few that are very anti-SNAP. And I think it would be good to get people to testify and share their experiences. I think what you just shared with us is something that these representatives need to hear. So I'm going to put that in the chat for anyone who's interested. Me and Chris from Partners are going to be there in person and hopefully get to testify as well. So thanks for this time, everyone. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all the work that everyone is doing on this.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure, Farron, that you saw Becky's comment in the chat for you for some extra resource help in the Lynn Benton area there. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to our next topic, but I'm sure if you have further questions or comments, if you want to put them in the chat, that Angelita would be happy to respond, or maybe she could put her her email in there for you so that you could ask her directly, and that would work as well. Thank you. Since she's already done that. And James is our next presentation. Take it away, James.
Yeah, and I know you guys want to hear about replacement benefits, so I'll be brief in that I'm here to talk about the Applicant Portal Improvement Committee. Now, what the heck is that? Well, the idea is that people are applying, of course, for benefits. They can call, they can go into an office, or they can apply over the computer. And this is still relatively new. We're trying to make the system work as efficiently as possible, but we know there are issues, there's things that are confusing. And so this committee that I'm helping form is to take the ideas that we've gotten and maybe create some more and how to improve the portal. So we can't just make all the changes at once. There's a limited pipeline that we get the stuff changes through, and I'm getting 4 a month that we can make is our allotment, maybe more, sometimes less, but that will be the goal then, is to prioritize for this group to find their own leadership, find their own cadence, find their own methods of voting and prioritizing, and then we can make those changes in the one system in the subsequent months. So been trying to get a representative group that of all the different people that touch the one system. So I want to thank Partners for Hunger-Free Oregon for connecting me with some of their CAB members, the Client Advisory Board. If you have, we're looking for people who have a lot of experience in the one system, basically. And our first meeting is going to be in about a month. And I should say one thing that it's not is, we're not going to be there to talk about policy so much. It's probably hard to avoid, but we're just talking about that process, how people are experiencing the one system. Maybe down the road, we'll likely start talking about the broader application process, but for right now, we're going to be talking about the computer interface that people experience. So that is my my quick overview. Any questions? So one of two things, either I explained it really well, or I just confuse you all and there's no, don't know enough to ask questions. So one of those two things happened.
James, did you mention how people could get involved if they wanted to, or is that still an option?
Yeah, if you have questions or you want to get involved, go ahead and contact me. I think most of you have my email, but just in case, I have a new email. It's very exciting, even though the old one still works, of course. Okay.
All right, well, thank you, James. If there are no questions for James, we will go ahead and move on to SNAP replacement benefits. So we have Heather on the call, but we also have Vanessa that would be happy to go over things with you. So I'm going to hand it over to whoever wants to start there.
Heather, I'll let you take it away, and then I'm happy to walk folks through the existing resources that we have on our website for this, and potentially get some feedback back on what else we can maybe provide to support you all, and sort of what we've done so far in terms of getting the word out about this program.
Actually, I'm going to defer to Antonio because I know he's prepared for some of this, and I'm sure you'd much rather hear from him than me. So, Antonio.
Hi. I was under the understanding I was going to do it, but so we got the SNAP replacement of benefits program going, and so as it's presented in the slide, do you mind going? Is this the first slide? I thought there was a slide prior to this.
No, I think this is the first slide.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It's not the version that I had, but I'll go with this. So the replacement of benefits is related to electronic theft. And so this includes anything that is, we were hearing a lot about skimming and cloning, but it also includes things like scam emails, texts, or other activities where a person is being tricked into providing their information, and then that information is being used to steal their benefits. There's a couple of things I wanted to mention is that the amount of benefits that we are allowed to replace, it's either the past 2 months of benefits prior to the benefit theft, or the actual stolen amount, and then we are told to use the lesser amount. So whichever amount is least is what we're allowed to replace. And so when I describe the different time periods, I'm going to mention that if the theft occurred during a time when we were issuing emergency allotments can be replaced if they were lost due to this theft. And also we are limited to providing 2 replacements for federal fiscal year. And federal fiscal year is from October of 1 year to September of the following year. And so if we can go to the next slide. So there's 2 timeframes that I want to make sure we highlight. So the first one is when the first time period before May 23rd. So we're allowed to replace any stolen benefits effective October 1st of 2022 through May 22 of 2023. If a household was impacted by this, they need to report those thefts no later than June 21st. So, and these are the prior, the first time period. After the 22nd of May, a household needs to report this theft within 30 days of discovering the theft. So I want to make sure that we get those 2 time periods clear. So no later than June 21st for the first time period, and then no later than 30 days anytime that it happens after May 22nd. Next slide, please. One of the things that we're requesting households to do is that they cancel their EBT card, get a new PIN issued, and request that their card be replaced. Because once the card has been compromised, it is subject to being used again. So we want people to get rid of those cards and get a replacement issued. So here are the information if someone is calling outside of business hours or during business hours. And again, presentation will be shared with you, so you'll have this information for approval. Next slide, please. And there's many ways to request replacement benefits. An individual can visit a local office. They can call the 800 number, or they can, at the end, on the next slide, there's a QR code that you're able to share. It'll take a person to the site where we have the template for the form that they can use to report this the theft. But they can email that completed form, or they can mail it, submit it at their local office to make this request. Then next slide. So yeah, you can use this QR code and actually go to the site where we have the template for the form. So I went through them a little quickly, but I wanted to allow time for questions. I know that there's probably going to be questions about this.
Susie, can you go back one slide to the QR code while he's taking questions? Thanks. I don't see any questions coming in on chat. Did anyone have anything they would like to ask? We've got a whole team here for you. I can help answer questions. Oh, it looks like Beth I see your hand up.
Thanks, Misha. I hope I didn't just miss this, but I'm just wondering how Oregon DHS is getting the word out about this, just because it's been a problem for a while, but people couldn't get, they were told, I'm sorry, we can't do anything about it. So how will all those folks know that now they can ask? And also, how will people who this hasn't happened to yet know that the program exists?
Antonio, I can speak to that, and you can add anything you'd like. So we have a website where previously all that was on that page was about getting SNAP replacement benefits if you had like lost food because of an emergency, a fire, or power outage, something like that. So we've since expanded that page to include details about electronic theft. That page has all the steps that they would need to take. Firstly, canceling their card if they haven't already, and getting a replacement card and PIN. It's got the deadlines there for people who lost benefits before this program started, and that 30-day expectation moving forward. It also has the ways that they can request replacement. So visiting an office, calling, and then sending in the request form. So we've shared that website through social media. We've also added a banner to the top of the website. So anytime you visit the ODHS website, at the top in English and Spanish, it mentions that we're starting this replacement option for folks. We also added that as a banner to the One Login portal, so that people will see it there as well. And then we put this up on social media and have shared it, I think, a couple times. And also on that page, those social media cards are available for any partners that want to use them as well, and in a number of languages. The same for some information sheets that we had translated as well that just have the basics, and they also have a QR code to this website. In addition to that, we put out a transmittal to staff so that they can educate their clients as they're meeting with them about requesting replacement benefits. And oh gosh, there was one other thing I was going to mention. Oh, and then one of our bilingual communications officers has had some opportunities to join OHA for some radio interviews over the past few weeks, which we know is a really great way to reach some of our clients who primarily speak Spanish. So she's been sharing about this program in those venues as well.
The only thing I was going to add was there was a media release which was picked up by various newspaper articles.
Thank you. Yes, that's what I forgot.
And in addition to that, internally, we are looking at the requests that were made prior to the May 22nd date and looking at cases that were denied prior to us being allowed to issue replacements. So we're going to be working that list and trying to see to make sure that we connect with individuals who had previously been denied, who had requested this benefit, to make sure that we get that going for them so that we can make replacements when it's appropriate.
If I may, I'm going to throw in one more thing. One of the groups of folks that I work with as community engagement coordinator are community partnership coordinators. And for those of you who may not be aware of who they work locally in our local districts, and they engage a lot internally with our offices, but they also do a lot of community engagement. And they have also been given this information so that it can be available in the branch offices, but that they're also getting the information out into their communities directly when they are engaging and partnering with others. And so there's some of that as well that I wanted to make sure you are aware of in addition.
Is it okay, Misha, if I have a follow-up question? And first of all, I should have said this before I even started asking my first question, which is thank you to Oregon DHS for making this happen, because it's so important, and we know that it took a lot of time and effort to get the plan drafted and approved, and it's just really important, and you know, all the people we work for collectively really appreciate it. And then I am wondering if there's already a plan in place to be tracking how many electronically stolen benefits are reported. And Antonio, I'm really happy to hear that. That's awesome that this agency is going to be going back to people who reported stolen benefits, but before there was replacement, and contact them. Is there going to be some record keeping so Oregon has some idea of how many times benefit skimming happens?
So I am aware that there's a database that is kept that is that contains that information, that is actually being kept by the EBT card. Their name is escaping me right now. The company that issues the EBT cards, they are doing that. But also, one of the things that we're asking people, so it's not required in order to get their benefits replaced. We are asking people to report that to the local authorities, to make a police report. It's a recommendation, because there are other people outside of our agency who are looking at the criminal activities that are related to the theft. And so that's a totally separate issue that we're not directly involved, but we are asking people to make those reports when they become aware that they have been victims of electronic theft.
I think more specifically though, Beth, when we're looking at what we're replacing, we are going to be keeping track of that. So, as we move forward into the future, we'll have a much better data point around some of those things that we can share with our advocates and partners. We're looking at that realization that because we've been in a place where we've had to say no before, we don't know the true number necessarily of people affected, because people anticipated that it would be a denial. As we've changed that policy, as we have more opportunity, I think we'll see an increase over time of the number of people that are applying for services. You know, I know that also it's one of those things that since this is part of the omnibus bill, and there was a date commitment to this program of support financially as well. This is one of those things that especially people on this call need to be aware of. This is something that is currently funded through 2024. Whether FNS commits to doing things more holistically and more concretely moving into our future, I think is still part of what will come up under that consideration in the Farm Bill reauthorization.
Thanks, Heather. I know we are at 3, so we are a little bit over, and I want to recognize everybody is very busy. If you have further questions, I think that some of us can hang on to try and answer those or capture those questions and get those answers for you. But if you need to move on to your next meeting, totally understand. But I don't want to cut off any important questions if there are folks who have them. So we do have our meeting again next month, and we look forward to seeing you then. Does anybody else have any questions they'd like to ask, though?
I have one more, but I don't want to dominate, and I understand that people need to leave, but I still have one outstanding question.
I think it's okay. We'll keep recording to be able to get that information to others, and if you need to take off, those of you who are listening, it's okay. We understand. Go for it, Beth.
Okay, thanks. Sorry to be speaking so much, but I never grasped how it was I probably may never grasp how it's happening to begin with, how the skimming works. But so when someone steals someone skims the card information, and they're in Texas, they get the information and they want to use the card in Texas, but they can't. You have to have the PIN to actually physically use the card, right? Or actually use the card in Texas. How are people getting the PINs back then? And how can't they, what has changed so they can't get it now?
I think that's a great question, Beth. And I think it's interesting what we see when somebody's trying to, commit fraud. Usually in the transactions, we see a PIN attempt or a couple of PIN attempts. And that's where they're either using technology to figure out the PIN or something else, but they're cloning the card and are able to reset the PIN. So, I think that we've seen advancement in what fraudsters will do and, are trying to get ahead of it. But that's kind of the sequence. Maybe somebody opens an email and that gives them access, or maybe they use their card somewhere and it had a machine in it, and that's where it was skimmed. And that's just really hard to tell with these things is where it happened and to try to track it down. But great question.
And so what was DHS able to do to make it harder to get the PINs? I know the skimming is like getting the information from the card is from machines that you might have used it at, but what has DHS done so it's harder to be able to either get the PIN or change the PIN?
There's not always too much that we can do to make it harder to get the PIN. A lot of the technology that's being used in situations like this are actually at the retailers. They can even be very tiny cameras that are under the point of sale device situations. So from that side, the getting of the PIN is not always something that we can easily control in that way. I think the awareness campaigns that we're doing when people are seeing strange behavior happening on their card and really promoting ways in which they can protect their own PIN, that's one of those first steps that both our federal partners and we've been really elevating is that rapid response, because realistically, the first time we're typically going to know that something's not working the way that we thought is because the customer reports it to us. There are conversations happening at a more national level around are there additional protections that can be purchased or pursued by states, but that's a point in that conversation that's between EBT vendors, electronic benefit transfer vendors, FNS, and the States. It's not a technology we have an immediate access to be able to get to, but it is one that we're interested in and we're pursuing conversations about. I think the other part of this also is just in terms of that general awareness with community partners as well, and making sure that our retailers know what to look for. They're our partners in this conversation too, in all honesty. And FNS has done a lot more of a campaign directly with those retailers to help inform them about some of the things they can do to help protect people in their stores. And I think there are provisions that a individual on SNAP can take around limiting the places that their card can be used and whether their card can be used out of state or not. And those are some of the things that are within the control directly of the SNAP participant. And there's some details about that on our website that Vanessa was mentioning to really help our SNAP participants know what's within their control from the get-go. As soon as they get a card and they activate that card, they have the choice to be able to go and limit where it can be used.
Okay, that's very, very interesting. Thanks. I'm sorry I made everybody stay late just for me trying to desperately understand skimming, but thank you.
I'll be honest with you, Beth. I mean, we're all learning in some of this because the technology moves so very quickly. And as soon as we think we've managed to lock down one area and improve it, something else happens somewhere else. It's a whole other realm of work.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks, Heather, and everyone, Jean as well, Misha. Okay. Well, thank you again for staying late. I'm sorry to make you spend more time.
That's all right. Thank you so much, everybody, for sticking with us. And hope you have a great afternoon. Go enjoy some of that weather.